Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Fox, here. On the show this evening is a one and only Port Bear and his mucker, GB. How we doing? Boys, not men. Boys, how we doing?
Boys to men. That was a band. That was a group at one point, wasn't it? Good evening, Captain, and good evening, Vice Captain. I hope the two of you are well, and it is a pleasure to be back on Rangers Radio.
I concur, Gary. Great to be back on as the season kicks off to a decent start in a qualification guaranteed now in the European competition, which I'm got to admit, 5 weeks into the new manager's tenure, I'm happy with that.
How are you, Port Bear? How are you, mucker?
Aye, good, Oxford, good. I love this part of the season. Regardless even of the new manager change, etc. I love the build up to the new season. I love the players coming in, players leaving, all that, and I'm just, I'm not going to say I was underwhelmed with the Russell Martin appointment, mate, because I knew enough about him through Norwich days, and all right, he had that awful time at Southampton and stuff, but I still was an excitement about his style of football, mate. And as we're getting to learn, as the games we're seeing, we are going to, it's going to give us a lot of moments we were looking through our fingers, mate, because the style of play that he likes to play from the back. But as I say, mate, for me, in such an early tenure and a lot of new players in that team, to get through against probably one of the toughest opponents you could have got at that stage in that competition, mate. I think we'd take 3-1 before we're asked.
Every day of the week. How's GB?
Good, Docs. Like I says, it was good to actually get a break for the Glasgow Rangers for a period of time there, and just watch it all unfold. There was that kind of moment when the new owners came in that I was getting a bit restless with signings and stuff like that. But as Port says, as things have started to kind of settle down, we've been getting into competitive games again, and the season's upon us as well. I'm moderately optimistic, I would say.
And how was Windsor, mate?
Oh, mate, just amazing. Like, you see their castles up here and stuff like that, and they're great. But see, we down in Windsor itself, like you could just see like a well kept, proper royal castle. It's just I would say it's like us. It's like the SPFL and then the Premier League. I mean, that's the kind of difference. But great tune, great food, great weather, and I all round good experience. And Legoland was fun to go to as well, and watch all the wee characters wandering about. So
did tell you the kids would like that, mate, didn't I?
You did, mate. You did. And I was proudly walking about my Rangers tarp in Legoland, and sod's law, anywhere we go, there's always a Rangers fan that spots you and gives you the nod of approval, walking about with the Rangers tarp in Windsor. So it was a good experience for the family ox and stuff like that. And strangely enough, my missus is not actually into a lot of that, but she fully enjoyed, like I says, seeing the kind of the royalty side of things and stuff like that. So I ticked a lot of boxes, mate. Refreshed and ready for the season ahead.
Yeah. Right. What we'll do, lads, we'll all get the phone lines opened right away, yeah? People up when we join us with our thoughts right for the start of the show. Obviously, I said quite a bit last night because it was a good show. Some of the guys were excellent last night. Even old Davey. So people are welcome to join us. I've been really intrigued. I'm really intrigued what Port Bear's got to say about the performance last night. I'm delighted for the club because financially it's unbelievable. Port Bear.
Aye, that let's get that part out the way right away. It's absolutely fantastic that we've guaranteed ourselves European football group stages 100% offshore. That's in the bag. And like I says, for 5 weeks in the new manager's tenure, when he's still not got, listen, I'm going to say this now, that the team that we've watched over them 2 legs, in my opinion, it'll be very different over the next few weeks to when the league actually starts. Mate, I think you'll see a lot of movement, so it's going to keep your GB happy. And I think you'll see a very different lineup very shortly. When they start getting players moving out and then others coming in, other targets that probably will be mentioned yet. But the game last night, Oxford with 2 legs, mate. Let's be really honest, mate. We stole that result. Jack Butland stood up and showed us the Jack Butland that we were excited about. And if he keeps that form up, he'll save us 5 to 10 million quid, mate, because over them 2 legs, in my opinion, Jack Butland got Rangers through and guaranteed European football.
He was our best player by a distance, mate. I don't disagree. Right, GB, we'll get the phone lines open, so it's only fair to say, let's hear from you. Oh, Mr. Fox might be popped out. All right. Oh, technicals. That man's got a work injury. He's struggling. GB, people want to join us. 0141356 1972. Come and join us.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Top man, Mr. Fox always gets in the MGB, doesn't he?
Yeah, just waiting to press that button to drop people.
Boy, struggling to press buttons at the moment, mate. Struggling.
Must be all this heat that we're getting as well.
Oh, it's an accident at work, mate. An accident at work. Right, okay.
Oh, dear.
Look, I'm going to try and keep putting this. I'll ask the questions. I said my point of view last night, yeah. What I thought of the game, what I thought of the players. Look, it's gone, but we've won the game, but we've got to critique the performance quickly. I'll let you come in first, GB.
Aye, Ox, again, I agree with you last night. It was really good callers last night and really honest opinions. And that's all we asked for on the show, is just the opinions of people and how they feel about the team and what we're seeing with our own eyes, Ox. And again, I agree with you and Port. It's fantastic. It was the Europa League was the building blocks for Gerrard, getting players in and money into the club and stuff like that. And it allowed us, after a couple of seasons, to go and win a title. So that side of things last night, we've guaranteed that. We've guaranteed another building block towards us trying to push for titles. But as you say, we're watching what we're watching, and we're kind of making the same mistakes, Ox. You can see it last night. We're playing a boy who is more favoured on the right side in the left back position, and he's trying to do a job for Martin. Now that's kind of bad for Yefty, because it's showing that the manager's trusting a right back more than a left back. He did give him his chance last night, but like I says, overall, I think we're just causing our making mistakes again, Ox. If we knew that the left back was going to be a problem for us, we should have been prioritising that, I think, early on in the window. I mean, if we felt that Ridvan was going to be getting moved on, we should have really been looking at that position, and at least it gives us a solid foundation.
He's no away, is he?
He's no, but
therein lies your problem, mate. I accept all, Bern, accept what you're saying, and you'll come back to you then, Port Bear can chip in. But I don't deny that. I think they've signed Aarons because they think they can cover a couple of bases. He does look, let's say, looks a bit uncomfortable there, and I'm being polite, yeah? So then we're sitting with potentially 3 players that can play there, and if you include Robbie Fraser, so we'll get 3 on the books, mate. One of them's one of our bigger earners, Ridvan, who the manager sort of intimated it's time to move on, because I don't think he would do this in George's Park. So we're trying to make a door, but till that deal's signed, GB, if you don't get it done, mate, you can end up paying for 4 people on your books at playing left back, and it's a big hole. So I get what they're trying to do. Football-wise, for us as fans, it doesn't make sense. For them as business and trying to move poor on the pre-wages and run the club properly, it makes total sense. But if you don't speculate, accumulate, if we go to Ireland last night and we get knocked out against one of the teams we could have played for the next qualifying, but it could cost yourself a lot of money. So I get that. The problem is the hardest thing is getting people at the door, GB. That's the hardest thing, mate.
Yep, it's again same old story, isn't it? It's these guys that are surplus to requirements. We've got the whole fair play thing going on as well in the background, stuff like that. But where I do agree with Albert is that there's got to be a bit of come and go with it. We either, like I says, we trundle on and we would just try and get by in games, because I honestly think, Oxen, seeing some of these SPFL games coming up, you give them some of the chances that Panathinaikos had last night. They'll score, and it puts us on the back foot because we're expected to win every game. That's the thing. So, as Albert says last night, you're giving them the heat start again, and this is what I don't want for the new manager. I don't want him having that negativity, because there is points, especially in the first game with Panathinaikos in the second half, you could see good football there, Ox. But that last night, you just feel as though the system's just not ready for that yet. And I think, like I says, he's really got to be wary, because he will end up shooting himself in the foot with it, Ox, because that first half last night again, and it seems to be a kind of trend that's gone now with the games that we have seen, is that the first halves are terrible. We're just no understanding it, or we're just not playing the way the system's meant to be, or whatever. But again, last night, it wasn't really the second half that we got to grips with the tactics, and again, going a goal behind it, we actually came alive.
Yeah, we did well for about 10 minutes. Port Bear.
In the system, actually, I can clearly see what he's trying to do, right? But in that system where he's expecting centre-backs, full-backs to be inverted, he's also wanting centre-backs to start taking the ball for a keeper. And, right away you invite pressure. And I don't believe the teams at the level at the moment, because as I said, we're only 5 weeks in, I don't believe we're at a level yet where we can start fizzing the ball into our centre-backs and fizzing into the inverted full-backs. Aaron's on the left for me is causing a major problem, because he always wanted to come on that right side, so he's narrowing the pitch as well. And there's a particular tackle where he got caught. Suter gave the ball away, and the guy runs through and goal, and Aaron does his best to get back, but he's on the wrong side because he's a right footer, and he ends up just getting a wee nudge off the ball with the shoulder. That's a dirty guy's through and goal, but makes a great save. So until he gets the personnel option, in my opinion, GB, until he gets the personnel that he's really wanting, I think, I'm not saying throw his philosophy out the window. I am not saying that, because I think once it gets going, we will get to see some nice football. But like I touched on earlier on, at times in the early stages, it's going to be behind the couch, looking through your fingers stuff, because when you're fizzing into the midfielders at times as well, and they're getting caught, because right away, Panathinaikos noticed in the first game at Ibrox, as soon as we tried to play into the midfield, they were on us, and they were breaking on us, and having, thank God they're not a striker. Thank God they're going to put the ball in the net. That's all I'll say. But until we get the playing staff that's needed, I think we'll need to score more than we're going to concede, because, as you said, Gary, we will lose goals in the SPFL, and like I touched on before in the show last season, we don't want to start behind the 8 ball against them or against any team in Scotland, because if you invite that sort of pressure, eventually you're going to get hurt, and hurt badly. And we don't want to start, having to give teams again a 1 goal before we even kick a ball. So that does worry me. But I think through time and getting players moving, getting players out the door, and then hopefully, as Kevin Fairwell and his team have got guys targeted already, and they're just sitting in the wings waiting for other parts of the machine to move before they can bring these guys in. Then we'll need to put up with what we're put up with. I'm not enjoying Raskin's role. I've got to kind of just touch on this. Raskin, who, in my opinion, was our best player last season, and I still believe he's the best player at Ibrox right now, and best midfielder in Scotland as well, in my opinion. I don't enjoy the way of what he's been asked by Russell Martin, and you can clearly see he's plenty instruction. I'm not enjoying it. To me, he's not been the dominant force in midfield, because everything's through Rothwell and that sort of 6 role. Raskin sort of playing on that left and sort of trying to help Aaron's at times, but I don't think you're getting the best out of Raskin because of that. And then Diamande, again, I think there's Oxford, we've talked about this even last season. I think that they're too far apart at times for me. There's too big a gap in the midfield and we're leaving far too much space. And that for me, that's worrying as well. So there is a few tweaks, I think, but I think it's due to the personnel that Russell Martin wants, not being there yet. And I think that once he gets the personnel that he wants, I think we'll see a big change. And as I say, I think come the start of the season, the first few weeks, you'll see a very different start 11.
Some of the passes, Port, that we're doing and putting in, Messi would they want them, mate?
No, that's true.
Yeah.
That's so true, mate. It's you're putting the player immediately under pressure, unless you've got, like you're touching on the touch of a god. They're still very dangerous. I mean, they're getting fizzed in, in the most dangerous positions, because sometimes Diamande or Raskin are halfway between 18-yard box and the halfway line, and they're taking that ball with their back to goal Oxford into their feet, and they're getting pounced on, bang, and before you know it, you've lost the ball, and then that's you. Then your last line of defence is, and that's what happened a lot of times in the first leg and the second leg, and thank God Butland was on, the form of his life, and long may that continue, by the way. But we're inviting pressure Ox that we don't need.
If I gave you to that pass with that in their positions, you'd have said if you lost the ball, what did you give it for? No, all right, it'd been all right if you passed it to me, it'd been all right, I'd have kept it, but no, everybody's like me, yeah. Right. You're watching passes, and when you're watching passes, you're saying, what are you doing? Now, I don't want to pick people out, and I'm coming in again with maybe too much to say, but if you watch like John Suter, that straight pass, when you lost the ball, if you do get mugged, everything's wrong. But everybody's caught out of position. It's so hard, mate. Everything's got to be perfect. And as you said, sometimes you're getting the ball and you are isolated because of the shape, mate. It's like trying to play football on a blackboard, mate. And football's not played on a blackboard, mate. If it was, GB would be a good player. GB.
So, I would be taking the hospital boys off you, neighbour.
By the way, I just go back to Port. You know what I'm talking about. You might have lost the ball, but you'd be saying to the guy gave you, yeah, I've lost it, but what did you give it for?
Aye, it's an absolute hospital ball. That's what I call him. My David when he used to fizz him into that, and then quickly. You've already had your rescan. I always have a scan before, receiving the ball to get. So I knew where that ball was going next. But as you say, mate, no matter how good you are, when it's getting fizzed in you at that quick, and we're in Champions League level here. Let's not mess about here, right? It's not the Champions League later stages or group stages. There's a Champions League team. It's a qualifier for Champions League. So you don't get the time because the quality of the player is higher than what we're used to. Now, we may get away with it sometimes in Scotland. We may get away with it. But at that level up here, you're not getting away with it. And this is where I think the problem's where you've not got a natural left back. You've not got Aaron's. Because certainly in the last 17 minutes last night when Aaron's was over the right hand side when you have to come on, it's a different player. Totally different player. But if you've got these guys in the right positions and you've got guys that you can bounce past after Oxford, as if you take one quick like that, and the full backs there to take it back, or the centre backs there, or Rodwell's there to take it back, but they're too far apart, mate. They're too disjointed and too far apart for these passes to work. If you want to get it quick like that, you want that guy 5 yards, bang, received, passed away, and you're off again to take the next ball. You know what I mean? But that's not happening, mate. That's not where we are in this current Rangers side under Russell Martin, unfortunately. It will come, mate. It will come. As I said, the quality will rise and it will come. But it's just too early yet, and we've not got the personnel in the right positions to help out, mate.
But see if you've got the right personnel and you've improved and you've got better. The Ryan pass is still the Ryan passport.
Yeah, no, I know that. Yeah, that's that. I 100%, mate. But you understand what I'm saying, don't you? When the midfield at times and the fullbacks are maybe coming in inverted to give you a chance to, when you're taking that pass in dangerous areas, because what they're trying to do is break that first press Oxford. But if you can't break the first press, because that's when they're getting caught, then that all falls down. So to break that first pass, if you're taking the ball in the sixth position and you're trying to go back to the fullback, for you to move it on another 5 years to receive the ball, to then break that first pass and then we break on them, then that's how that's supposed to work. But we're getting caught up in the first phase of that.
Mate, I would have just sat down in the park and said, if you're not going to give me a decent ball, I'm not playing, mate. Yeah.
I know, yeah, I don't understand, mate. But that's how I seen it, mate, over the 2 legs. We were getting caught in the first phase of the press.
I was talking to Mr. Fox last night, and he was talking about, what we're trying to do, and when it comes off, and we've seen it come off. The second goal last week, I know they were doing the 10. Too much football. What a goal it was! It was a great goal. So we get that. That's the plus side. But see, when you look back, the vast majority of their chances came from errors, misplaced passes, bad control, everything under the sun. When they sprung on, John Suter running forward, miscontrolling the ball, making the wrong pass, just getting the ball straight away to various players. And all the GB over the 2 legs, yeah, it's shooting the foot constantly.
There's bits that I just didn't enjoy. Like Arns was getting rolled, he got rolled last night. Tav as well a few times as well. He was trying to blame Butland for not coming out for the ball when Tav was doing and stuff like that. Our captain's got to take a bit of responsibility last night as well, because he was starting to blame a lot of folk. I know the loan signing at the back gave him a hospital ball, but again, Tav's still in there saying give me it, and he's not aware of the guy running about him either. It's stuff like that. Ox is going to, like you say, shooting us in the foot, and may him to Russell Martin, but he's like that. He says, we're going to improve. That last night, that first half, man, you're sitting there going like that. Where's the improvement? Nobody's doing what they're doing. And if you're going to, I know we got through and stuff like that, but if we're going to play this way, I would rather we played ugly and won than do that last night, than give teams the opportunities just basically on the plate, Ox. You know what I mean? Until such times we get the personnel in. And what I say is, I've seen glimpses of what Martin wants.
The personnel in and not get that result, mate. You've got to give them credit. And this is where we become hypocrites. The 2 results are magnificent. Magnificent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But our strikers, Ox, we can't go a full season no gain any service to our strikers. I mean, Danilo last night just ran about. He was as well as being a midfielder. And this is what I'm not enjoying about the system is you're meant to have strikers that score goals, Ox. And we have probably got guys that can score goals, because Danilo scored pre-season. We've got Dessers who can score, but had a blatant chance last night that he should have buried. But it's that kind of way. The system's got to work for a proper striker, Ox, as well. I mean, we can't just rely on wingers to get us out of holes all the time. And that's my concern as well with his system. When we're going to actually see the boys getting whipped in for our strikers to finish them. I mean, that's what the next bit I'm looking for. And hopefully that will come against Motherwell.
Okay.
I think where a lot of it starts, Ox, here is, but apart from Suter, there's a lot of experience at the back. I know you've got Taver as well, but you've got Max Arns, who's brand new in, and the boy Giga, who's Wolves, young, was out in loan, had a few loan spells. I think it was Red Star Belgrade, they're called, whatever they're called now. And albeit when I scouted him, had a wee look at him, he's a dominant, aerial, like a typical bridge man, what he wanted. But I still think we're lacking. I'm going to use the guy for example, that I was excited if it came to fruition. A guy like Connor Cody, a guy with absolute Premier League experience, or it doesn't matter Premier League, any other league in Europe, because but someone with a voice, an all action, leader, a captain. I still feel, mate, at the back we're lacking that Connor Goldson next year. I'm going to use him as a guy that was an organiser, a guy that was backing orders, a guy that would organise his back four, and he would be backing orders in his midfield, etc. I think that's where a lot of the naive play at the back comes from. Because I think if anybody was experienced in the first 2 or 3 times you got caught with these passes into midfield, you would be like, right, enough. We need to bounce into maybe the centre forward's chest. We need to try, like Connor Goldson, a wee diagonal for our wide players. We need to try something different. Let's take the pressure off us. Let's stop putting ourselves under pressure. But, try plan A. One of your ones, Oxy, and plan doesn't work. Try harder the next time. No, I think sometimes there's a bit of naive play from the back and midfield, because someone has to say, if you're a midfielder and you're receiving these balls, again, you'd be like, no, you need to miss me out, get it over the top of me, and then we'll deal with the next phase as it goes past me. Something has to change up here. But I think it's because we lack. That's just what I'll say. We lack quality, mate, and we lack experience.
But what I'll say, mate, is we need a different personnel in, and we might not have got the results. So we have got to doff our hat a bit, GB, because if you woke up and looked at the 2 results, they're magnificent, mate. Yeah, we went 2-0, we won 5-3-1, everything. Hunky dory. Yeah, I get it, I'm listening. I understand. I think DHS or whatever it is will be busy today. Everybody getting new sofas after that last night. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, but the result itself, mate, brilliant.
Aye, by the way, like say arms and stuff like that, I'm certainly not criticising the boy. The boy done a job in there. I'm actually feeling sorry for some of the mocks in the sense that they're getting either played out of position or they're just not ready for this system yet. I mean, the result, like you say, is absolutely brilliant. They've put in an absolute shift. The heat, our Fox has touched on it, the heat last night would have been absolutely immense on them. Like Arms, you can see as a player, he's a proper talented boy. And again, I just don't think it's fair that we do this to players. We seem to bring them in. They've got all the talent in the world, and we enjoy playing them out of position, or we say to them, "Oh, you need to go in and do a job." Whereas I'm tired of that, Ox. I want us to play guys who are at their best in their best positions, and us to go out and show the best version of ourselves. No, let's just keep shooting ourselves in the foot because either tactics or we've got to fit somebody in a certain position to keep them happy. We've just got to find a better way, Ox, because that's where the criticism will come. Because we all know last night, with the chances they had, if we got papped out last night, it would have been blamed on either boys playing out of position or it was the tactics that caused the hassle. And that's not on Russell Martin, because Russell Martin has clearly got a philosophy. And as I've said before, in certain games, the friendlies in the first leg of the Panathinaikos in the second half, you can see really nice football. And I want to see that at Ibrox. But there's a time and place for it, Ox, I feel. And like I says, if we're not going to get the personnel, then we need to find another way that this team can at least, like I says, put a title challenge in, Ox, because I'm no sitting here watching Muddles and all that scrape draws again, and like I say, St Mirren's and all this overpowering us because that we're so sloppy at the back. I'm done with the days. I mean, we'll have the freak results and all
playing,
that.
Mate. You can't influence it. You're not playing.
No, I know. but the manager can influence it. And if the manager's got to be, again, another stubborn manager that's came into the club saying, no, I'm sticking with my philosophy, then ultimately, down the line, he'll be like the rest of them. He'll get popped out the door because he's been stubborn. So, on his head be it, I'll say it now, I'm behind the guy, but if he continues and he costs himself, then it's all on him, because it's his fault.
But he hasn't cost himself yet. We've not lost in a competitive match, and arguably, apart from another team that plays in similar colours, we'll not play domestically anybody in the quality of them.
But I think the boys touched on it last night, that if we were playing with a team that had a decent striker last night, we would have probably seen Martin's tactics get shown up a wee bit. I mean, and like I says, I top my hat to him with how he wants to play football. I really do. I want to see fast flowing football in Rangers, but I just worry that it's no time for it.
I'm not doffing my hat for the football, but so for me, I'm doffing my hat for the results. Put there.
I mean, I think last night over the two legs, let's be honest, we've probably learned. Russell Martin and his team would have learnt a lot for them 2 games last year on, the performance, how the game went, how the team's progressing, and the 5 weeks of being together. Like I touched on earlier on, they've guaranteed themselves new, the European football. But I keep touching on, mate, that only 5 weeks into this process from where we were at the end of the season, and I think it's an incredible result last year. I really do. I've got to be. Was it football great at times? Not, wasn't it? Was it turgid, and was it, did it leave us probably more questions than answers? 100%. But for me, the results, outweigh that for me. As I said, that this group will get better. I've no much. I don't think they'll take much more, but this group will develop and get better as the weeks go on. As this team grows next year, they're more or less learning on the job at the moment. That's what's happening right now. And much like first of the Ibrox tie, we were vulnerable looking. With massive road by luck. Hostile environment over there last night as well. The heat, as the Foxman touched on, but we stood up and we got through. And to me, that's the most important thing. And one of the bits I really enjoyed last night, they're all celebrating when they get that header, right? It was a squiff header, it was a miss header. It still went in, but it was still a poor finish, but the guy scored it, right? But they're celebrating in the stands, and then we make a wee sneaky sub and bring the gas man on. And they're still celebrating, they're still celebrating in the stands. Their manager's going to have to see celebrating, and we come on. And by heck, Oxford, did we not answer them? Did we not answer them and kill that tie? So you have to take your hat off, mate. You have to take your hat off from the way that we sort of reacted to them getting that goal. The stadium, lights up, and then we react. With all the pressure we're under, that they were dominating the ball. As you touched on, the mistakes we're making were causing a lot of problems. Tottenham was continuing to keep us in the game. But the gas man, mate, I'll tell you what a finish that was. Technique. For a boy with a throw, that was not an easy finish, brother. And he's my top goal scorer right now already. And it's from the bench. I think he's overall around 30 odd minutes, 37 minutes in football. And he's essentially scored 2 of the most important goals that got us through to the next phase of European football, mate.
Are you saying he's got a goal every 18 minutes?
Yeah, but that's what it's basically working out as, is it not? Yeah. Two substitute appearances. I think he's about 37 minutes in total.
Total, is it? 18 and a half minutes. That takes me back. A goal every 18 minutes. That would have done me.
And 5 million in his back pocket as well.
Listen, he's recently put his price up. He scored 2 goals in Europe, mate. It's grown. It's mental. Listen, I accept the criticism. I'm with you, GB, in some respects, but I've got to doff my hat for the results. And I think the board and for the business case will be stronger for what they've done, because obviously The big thing was last night was getting through to guaranteed European football instead of walking a tightrope with a tricky tie if we hadn't won. So we've done that. And for that, I want to congratulate all the players that took part, even though I thought some didn't do as well as others, but all the players that took part in the last two games, because they've done it for us. They've got us through a tricky one, GB.
Yep, Box. And like it says, they celebrated with the fans there last night and stuff like that. And they showed that they cared and stuff. They never gave in. It would have been easy to put the heats down once Panathinaikos got that wee cheeky goal last night. And we could have, like I says, collapsed, and we didn't. Like Port says, we responded. Our new signing, like I says, stepped up to the mark again and got us the goal. And by the way, see if we did play well and our goalkeeper was quiet, we would still be asking the question: is Butland got to be good enough this season? So to be honest, now we know the man's, like I says, got his form back, and like I says, hopefully he keeps it up. So that's been the big plus as well, that he's been busy and showing that he's actually got a future at Rangers. I just, like I says, I'm wanting the players settled, Docs. I'm wanting them all to either understand the tactics and not to be getting, like I says, played in places where it's totally alien to them. And I know Arns has said he's played in the left before, but you can clearly see he's a better player on the right-hand side. And like I says, we shouldn't be accommodating players. If we've got a better right back, then we should be putting them in. You know what I mean? And they him, the captain's the captain, but it's for the benefit of the team. Sometimes, like I says, if we've got a boy that's a better level, then I really do hope in time that Martin will play the best players, and he'll not just play people because I don't know, a friendship. You know what I mean, or because they are captain. I mean, I'm hoping he's got that kind of.
I've not seen anything for Aaron so far. It's going to dislodge Tab. There's something controversial put there.
But he's playing the left, Docs. You know what I mean?
I've never said that. What I'm saying is, I have not seen anything so far for Aaron's that says he's going to dislodge Tab. So far, yeah.
I get it. I just don't think Tab would be able to do the same in the left. That's the thing as well.
I don't disagree with that neither, mate. But what I'm saying is, Portland, you come settle this up, wrestle.
I think it's we've not seen. So far he's not shown me anything that he's going to rip the right back position out of Tav's hands at the moment. But he's not played there, so I'm not going to be harsh on the boy. He's went out and done his best in a position that he's allegedly saying he can play. For what I've saw so far, I would just go with the balance personally and just stick Yefty there, because I don't think Yefty would have done much worse Oxford and on the performances we've seen in Max Arns over there. But listen, nobody will remember the vulnerability in this tie, because the money we've got for this package that comes with it, nobody's going to remember the performance of Oxford. The fact is, we got through.
Well, it's cost you £2 for a new sofa.
We criticism too often they passed up possession in dangerous positions, giving up multiple clear chances over the two legs. I think we faced 34 shots, if I remember reading something about it last night, against better opposition, and basically our Champions League hopes could have been over. But in his first big test in a tricky tie and early in the schedule for Russell Martin, mate, he's overcame it. He's overcame his first big test and got us to the next stage. I don't know, actually. I think we've got a tricky start. Motherwell, St Mirren, an Old Firm derby to come before August even ends. But to me, he's passed the first big test. So for that, I'll give him kudos, mate. I'll give him kudos. Has it been great? Was it great to watch? No, wasn't it? But he's passed the test, Oxford. He's passed that part.
Yes, and if we get a result on Saturday, which I'm hoping we will, and I'm expecting we will, GP, that's the sort of end of the pre-season, because you've got the games under your belt, you're moving on, and we'll get games coming thick and fast. It'll be a successful pre-season, because it'll be, you've won your opening league game, you've got through the tricky tie in Europe, it becomes positive, yeah?
Ox, and it builds the confidence within the fans as well. Like we're saying about these tactics. I mean, if Arms goes out and he's able to have more time in the ball in the games coming up in the league, it might actually not look as bad. I mean, it might not look as shaky. And again, for myself, it'll build the confidence. If we go out there and control a game with these tactics and we are playing people out of position, then like I says, I've got nothing to complain about. But like I says, if it's continually opening doors for poorer teams, Ox, let's face it. And as much as Panathinaikos played nice football last night, I was absolutely really over the moon that we papped a team like that out, because see some of their theatrics last night, falling down and saying they got smashed in the face, trying to get players sent off. I loved it that they actually got papped out last night, because when you've got a team like that that's trying to play the dark arts and all that against you, and purposely try to get players sent off and accusing them of being dirty players when clearly not a lot of our players are. I was, like I say, over the moon. I just don't want to give teams any chance, because I think there is a lot of talent in our team, Mox, and I think we can do well. We've got an opportunity, an aging team across the city who haven't really done much in the transfer market either. So, Ox, I just think there's an opportunity there. If we just get ourselves organised and no give people chances, we can do really well this season.
Okay, let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Well, it's a fair comment, GB. Port, obviously, I think the 90 minutes last night over the tide, Butland was our best player, yeah. Last night again, but we'll talk about outfield players. I don't think any of the back four were outstanding. Big G, but he grew into the game. I think he had a wee ropey spell when they were knocking the ball about in the first half. But he shows enough pace and maybe defensive qualities to say he could be an asset in the midfield. Rothwell's neat and tidy. Would that be fair? He's a guy that just gets it, pings it, moves it, and tries to get the attacks, and supports everybody when they're in the ball. Diamandi, I thought, was pretty. The piece last night was pretty non-existent. Raskin was involved in all the good moments, and had no bad game without hitting the heights that he has done. And the front three were pretty anonymous. Had enough touches. Doyle defensively helped out. John Curtis could have been the hero if he taps one in, but he didn't influence the game much. And Danilo worked hard, but a lot of his work, he's coming for the centre forward position, Port, and running 30 yards towards the centre halves. I don't know if I want that, mate.
No, and that's what GB's touching on. We want to see our centre forward, mate, in the final third of the pitch. We don't want to see him dropping in, as deep as he was at times in the midfield, because then obviously you lay a massive gap in behind where he's not got blistering pace. He's going to play a ball through. I think what the instruction for me last night, Oxford, would have been, let's be resilient, let's stay in the game, stay in the faces of Panathinaikos, let's get in the faces as much as we can, and try and grow into the match. But time and time again, mate, that we just kept losing the ball, giving the ball, losing the ball in midfield. I have to agree with you on, I think Rothwell's tight. I can see for me, he's like a quarterback in the middle of the park. I can see he's going to start a lot of moves in that 6 role. He's going to be a guy that's a lovely passer. Coming some of his set pieces last night, mate. Some of his caught. I like. He's clearly got a wand to a foot. And I just think, as I said, mate, I'm not being overly critical, because I can't be too critical here because of how such a short time Russell Martin's had with these guys, and it's only going to improve. That's one big thing for me. And if we can, the fact we're past that first test, if we can use that Oxford as a catalyst, GB, if we can use that as a catalyst to fire the season the early part of the season. That's the first quarter. Let's break it into quarters, and that's him past the first test, and we can use that against Motherwell. Right, we've got that result, so our tails are up. All right, we weren't great, but we know what we need to work on. The time to go through and watch the videos of where it went wrong, and they'll be critiquing things as well next year. They'll be sitting down in their room with the video analysis guys, going through absolutely everything. And 9 times out of 10 in life, you learn from your mistakes, and they'll see maybe we're not ready for bouncing the ball into the midfield at the moment where we are, especially in Scotland when it's like a hot toddy in there, when Russell Martin's going to find out it's completely different in Scotland that is to play in Europe. So you do get a wee sort of a bit more time in Europe than you do in Scotland. So he's going to be ready for that as well next year. If he thinks that he was getting pounced on quite the last night and they were breaking on us, then we know exactly what the Scottish teams are like and how they play in Scotland. But I just want to say it, because remember we're only 5 weeks into it. Let's that team's got a bit of character, in my opinion, to get through them 2 ties. It's not all positive, right? But it's a positive result.
Oh. We're going to play well on Saturday, get a good result. Then the pre-season, as I said earlier on, GB becomes a different mindset. You look at it differently. It's achieved a lot. You've got players in. You've got them in. Unfortunately, Asgal picked up a knock. You never know, we might see him on Saturday. Maybe a cameo. So there's one that's going to come in. All the rumours and everybody that's coming is that many players were linked. It's mental. But if we win on Saturday, we've achieved a lot in the early part of the season, GB. So that's a big positive. You have to keep winning at your club,
Ox, that says that first game that's been a stickler for us, Ox, the first game of the season, and season's gone by, and I think it will give the team good confidence. Like that last night, them digging in and getting the result, that says they'll know behind the scenes, Ox, that's them guaranteed, obviously, their European football, and they'll know how important, through probably the grapevine, how important it is for the club to be in Europe. I mean, and then they've like what says, we've ticked that box. We're going to start the season. This is a good win. That's all we're looking for, a win. And it doesn't need to be an amazing performance, but a win against a tricky team away from Haymox. And this is hopefully that this is the momentum just keeps building, because we've seen what can happen. What this is the building blocks, a European run. And this is a good start to the season. You can be this is up there, and it only takes the negativity shift elsewhere, Ox, that this is a team can really progress. You know what I mean? So I do hope for the team. I hope for this is Russell Martin, because he's been talking well. Again, like Port was saying, he's not been everybody's first choice, but so far so good.
We're never pleased the support. The support, and we'll rope somebody in. He is what he is. He's the Rangers manager, and it's up to us to get behind him. What?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Guys, use a great word there. Momentum. Momentum's everything in football. And we should have a bit of character and grit, bit of determination. As I said, we know the style of play doesn't seem to be working. But it's not working at the moment, because we're in the early stages of as philosophy in building this team. But momentum, and if we can build on what we're seeing, that's how a team is built next year. All you're looking for is improvement. 5, 10, 15, 20% improvement every single training session.
What's the most important thing then? Substance, performance, or results?
Results next year. Results. I think results at Rangers are everything, because it's a true fact. You're only 2 games away from an absolute disaster when you're a Rangers manager. And that's the hard real fact of being manager at Rangers Football Club, or being a player at Rangers Football Club. You're under the microscope in the Glasgow Fishbowl the minute you sign on that dotted line, and that's when you find out who's going to stand up who's up for it and who's not up for it. And I think so far what I've saw, I'm pleasantly surprised with in the early phase. I'm going to be really honest. I never thought we were going to get through this time. I really didn't, because I thought Panathinaikos, I knew some of the players, and I thought they were at the stage. I thought they would have seen us off, especially because we were right at the very start of our journey under Russell Martin, and they've managed to pull this off. And we play Pulls in the next round. You'll be another tough test, But again, Martin said we need to be even better for that. But by that time, we'll learn a few games under our belt next year, and hopefully things will continue to go from strength to strength. But as I said, mate, for me at Ibrox, being the Rangers manager or Rangers player, it's the results that are everything. Obviously, we like to see lovely, fast-flowing football, and that will come. So eventually, what you want is, you want to be greedy next year. You want the result, but you want a bit of substance. You want a bit of flair. You want to see a Rangers team that's going to get you in edge of your seats.
Well,
they
they certainly done that last night, mate.
Aye, exactly. But yeah, I mean, in the type of player that Russell Martin's brought in, the one who's been linked to, like the boy Asgard, I like to look at him. The boy Gassama, I like to look at him. Pacing the wings, somebody you enjoy going to Ibrox to watch and see. Gassama's looked like a superstar at the moment. I hope that changes. I hope he nails down either the left or the right position, whatever's his favourite position, mate. Because he's given Russell Martin a headache, because now he's come off the bench, and apparently next year this boy's, as we know, is not a pre-season, and he's also Russell Martin's own words. He's not ready yet for a first start. So I can't wait to see this boy when he's fully fit, if this is him right now. So there's a lot of excitement about Oxford. There's a lot of excitement about it, and he's building that. You've got to remember, I think as well, this side's a young side. There's a lot of young signings been made. It just needs. I know Rothwell's a bit older, but
yeah, Rothwell, Tavernier, Suter,
yeah,
Dow, Butland, yeah. But you've also
I mean, there's also players that. Sorry, when you go.
All right. We've been joined by a caller. Evening, caller. How are we doing, mate?
Not bad. How are you, Ox?
Aye, who's this, mate? I've known your name sent through to me.
Cairo.
Oh, Cairo, I can't hear. I've never heard you. How are you, brother?
I'm brilliant. Doing really well. Enjoying life.
How is the big white chief?
All right. Fine.
All right.
Doing well. How about you? How's things?
Things are good, mate. Things are good. Hopefully our team's going to make us better, Cairo. Hopefully.
Well, I'll tell you what, there'll be a lot of the blood pressure machines getting taken out early season, I would think.
Aye. Well, what's your taking it so far, mate?
Really top level. Job today. Win the tie. Done it. Performance, we can't say anything about it other than it wasn't very good. I think a couple of things that really struck me was in the two games, we still contained them. They had a couple of chances, but how many times have we walked away from games saying we were a better team, we should have won that. If we so had done this, we could have scored that goal.
Oh, you're getting in and out, Cairo. I know your house is massive, mate, so you can run that snooker table.
Oh no, I've not done the snooker for ages, mate. I'm
right.
still playing that same game. Is that better? My break's 13. Is that better?
That's better, mate. Carry on.
Good. So out of the two games, we did today well. A couple of things I did like was we brought in a couple of new players. Where I seen the big disconnect and where it seems to me the players were very, very self-conscious of where they were playing. And it seemed we had a block of players at the back with three individual wee squares in the middle, and we had folk up front that were missing, or they weren't getting the ball. And they never met. That should be fluid, it should be the defence should be overlapping with some of the midfielders, and the midfielders should be passing, crossing each other. They wee squares that they're staying in, they're consciously staying in where the manager wants them to play. They should be more expansive and overlapping with Diamandi should be overlapping with Raskin and that type of thing. There should be movement. That's the bit that's missing. And you're leaving the ball to these four guys at the back, and they get nervous on the ball when they get too many touches. And it seems as though the players in front aren't moving. So for me, that's the biggest disconnect we had. I think players doing their job that they're putting today, i.e. the defenders defending, I'm a lot happier than I was last season. Every corner I was hitting the couch, and I wasn't even looking through the cracks in my fingers. I was shutting my eyes. At least in this game last night anyway, I was still almost behind the couch, but I was watching the game, and at corners I was reasonably comfortable that we were going to defend it. Because
was there enough practice last night, Cairo?
Pardon?
We got enough practice defending corners last night.
Well, we did, Oxford. See, if that had been last year's defence, I think we'd have lost a couple of goals just because we gave away goals at corners or free or set pieces all the time. And I think that's a big difference to last season that I don't think a lot of us have connected on it, because I wasn't that nervous. Whereas last season, every corner, every free kick that was in, you're going, oh God, this is going to be another goal. At least last night, you were saying we have a chance of getting the ball away. So that's a positive for me. The guys that were there to defend were defending. And if you take Big Sophie, I mean, letting him run into midfield because nobody in front of him's moving and he's not getting any space or they're not making an angle for him or whatever, and then he's got to try and slide a tackle with his third touch to get the ball to a Rangers player. It's ludicrous. So there's something missing there. That's the bit that's missing. And it means that these guys at the back are just passing the ball about with no purpose whatsoever. I must admit, I'm not a fan of Tav, as you know, and I think he's doing the hill, and I think accommodating him's killing us a wee bit. Arden's isn't a left back. I thought the big GD, that you call him, the big fella in the centre, I thought that guy grew into the game. I think he's a really good player. He
get better as the game went on last night, mate. He get better. He was all right. He get caught a wee bit ball watching with the goal with the offside, but we're talking about splitting hairs here. But however, I thought he'd get better as the game went on, mate, if I'm honest.
And they looked more comfortable. Even the big mistake that he made, it was fast enough to get back and remediate it. So, I mean, he seems aware enough and he's got the speed to do what it is. So I think that's where a big problem is for Martin going forward. Individual performances, I thought McDowell, what do you call him? He wasn't in the game. He was doing something that Doyle, and he was doing something that Martin wanted him to do. I thought he offered the team nothing. I don't think he's offered the team anything. The players for me, and people are saying Raskin, apart from a couple of, 3 or 4 bad passes, I thought Raskin was the main man for me. He was the only man that was moving. He's the only guy that tries in and going forward. He's the only guy that tries to pass the ball forward. He's urging folk on all the time. And he's all over the place. Now, is that what Martin wants? I don't know. But he certainly seems to be a wee bit curtailed to where he was at the end of last season. I thought Rothwell was okay, but he didn't impose himself in the game. Diamandi was a non-entity. He was an empty shot. And I think when you look at our centre forwards, Danilo last night, he wasn't getting any service. He had to go and look for the ball. And, he was doing a lot of running for nothing. And that's a fair fight if you're a lone man up front doing a lot of running for nothing.
He'd run his race. Mate. He was done.
Absolutely. And that heat and everything else. So I think a wee bit unfair criticism for him. Definitely when we scored their goal, their team went down. But whenever Jeffrey came on and we moved into more natural positions, did the team no suddenly look as though it was a wee bit more balanced? Folk were all a wee bit more comfortable. We were moving about a wee bit easier. Now, I don't know if that's because that team were deflated and down and that their supporters were starting to go. The impression I got is when we started to put players in the right positions, the balance started to come. There were a wee bit more confidence about it. But I definitely like a big centre half. The gas man, obviously,
good goal, Carol. Good goal, wasn't it?
Great goal. Technique was superb. So that's my take on the game.
You had the thoughts, mate. We're going to have a tune and I'll bring the boys right back in to come back to your comments. But by the way, Brilliant to hear from you, brother. Let's have a tune.
All along the walls of the Ibrox halls are pictures of legends of old, making history for the world to see. The stories of glories unfold. We are the legendary Rangers. We wear the legendary blue. Today, forever, and for always. We are Rangers through and through. Well, the legends come and the legends go, but Rangers live on just the same. For a new one's born when the blue shirts won, and we all remember their name. We are the legendary Rangers. We wear the legendary blue. Today, forever, and for always. We are Rangers through and through. And there is no doubt what we're all about when we face the world and say, bring it on some more, 'cause you know for sure that we don't do walk away. We don't do walk away. We are the legendary Rangers. We wear the legendary blue. Today, forever, and for always. We are Rangers through and through. We are the legendary Rangers. We wear the legendary blue. Today, forever, and for always. We are Rangers through and through.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Right, some great points there, Cairo. Some great points, mate. GB.
Aye, they are great points, Cairo. Especially about the Tav and what he says about Danilo. I seen a few folks saying that Danilo's absolutely rubbish after last night, but I mean the boy ran his socks off, and like you says, mate, no service at all, and that's my major concern, mate, is up front. I mean, boy Curtis is doing well, right, but he's a boy that's going to need time to progress. Dowell's never a right-sided winger. I'm on for Sundays, and then we've got Danilo up there himself looking for service, and he's not getting it. So this again, between that and the left back situation, we need to get these things sorted, because that I honestly think if we get these kind of wee bits sorted out, get good service, get goals, we'll blow teams away. What?
Hi, mate. Hi, Cairo, how you doing? Good to hear you on, mate. I had a lot of similar. Good, mate. Thank you for coming on. I felt, if you heard me earlier on, I had a lot of similar thoughts on the performance to yourself. I think, for being 5 weeks into Martin's regime and his philosophy, etc., I think it's a massive result, and I think we do need to be pretty proud of it. But there's a few things that I think Ox asked me a question earlier on in regards to what matters, substance, style, or results. And right now, I think the results are, for me, what's the most important thing. Momentum, character, which we've seen through getting through this tie. But right now, we're still trying to build. The building blocks have been put in place for Russell Martin's philosophy. And so it's not just Russell Martin's philosophy, by the way. Rangers have brought in Kevin Thelwell and his partner with a manager in mind that it's a Rangers philosophy. This is not just about Russell Martin here. Kevin Thelwell is going out and finding players to suit Russell Martin's style of play, but it's the way forward for Glasgow Rangers. This is not so. I want to try and take the sort of emphasis off Martin that it's all going to be his fault if this doesn't go, right. It's Rangers have decided to go with director of football right for the get-go since the Fortliners have taken over. The Whitman Martin, they know what his style of football was all about. They knew instead of putting square pegs and round holes, what they need to do is go and get the players. I think that's what's frustrating guys like we signed Max Aaron, £12 million right back, who had a great career down in England. We want to see him right back. We want to see him in the place
we might be exaggerating the truth there, mate.
In what sense?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would say a great career. He's had a steady career.
No, decent, solid. Aye, solid. Yeah, a solid career. But in terms of what we've been used to, Oxtear, signing wise over the last few years at Rangers, he's up there, mate. It's an improvement on the level we've been getting and the level we've been able to attract. Now, a lot of people thought Oxtear that Martin wouldn't be the guy to attract these guys north of the border, but he's managed to get Rothwell to come in, who played under him. Max has come in because he played under him, and through time these guys will get better because they know what's expected of Russell Martin. But I just want to throw that out there, Oxtear, that this philosophy is a Rangers thing.
Cairo, when you come, mate.
I think your point's valid in as much as if the board are supporting Russell Martin, have obviously spoke about how they want Rangers to play, and the club have bought into a way of playing, and Martin has either agreed or set that up, and they've agreed. So you're right. It's how the Rangers Football Club at the moment want to play, and I don't disagree with that. I think we've had other managers that have tried to play that as well. I think that was Warburton's style. His problem was that he became a dogma. He had the ball and no score goal. It was a matter of save the ball or anything else. I'm not saying Martin's going to get like that. I think he's a lot smarter. He's a lot younger, and I think what I really like about him is if somebody's not doing what he wants them to do, he tells them. He doesn't care who it is, and he tells them. So it brings them up short whenever they're coming up short. He tells them. So hopefully that message gets through. I think when you've been at 6 weeks together, the players are trying to play his formation so that they're conscious of where they should be and everything else, and where the manager wants them to be. See, in a couple of weeks when that's second nature to them, that becomes inherent in how they play. They're not thinking about that. They're thinking about the game. The new wee squares that the midfielders are in, that they're no crossing out, they're no running at each other. They suddenly become big squares. They overlap, and the players are moving into that. Whenever the other team get the ball, they drop back into formation where they're expected to be. They're expected to do this, expected to do that, and that becomes when the team becomes a wee bit more fluid, and it looks a wee bit more as if they know what they're doing, and it looks a wee bit more like teamwork than anything else, because the players are moving off the ball. They're no concentrating on, I've been told to be here. So hopefully that comes. Also, I think if that works, this nonplussed, just passing the ball at the back with defenders that don't really want the ball, suddenly they've got space to pass the ball to players. They're not having to hang on to it. So they start passing the ball with a wee bit of purpose. Then suddenly things start to move. Then you start to look like a team that knows what it's doing. So I don't think we're that too far away, being quite honest about it. I just hope we can get the message in quickly and we get a good result in the first couple of games in the league, because if we don't, we're going to put everybody under pressure, and then people start saying, this is, you start questioning the whole Rangers philosophy, if you like. And I hope that doesn't happen, because I don't think we're that too far away. Playing a natural right back, he's only 25, the laddie. I mean, he's a wee bit more experienced than this, but he's still only 25-year-old. So, you know, he's not quite at the prime. And if he's playing well at right back and he's a square peg in a square hole, then that's what you want. And I wouldn't like to be moving the likes of players out of position to play another, accommodate another player because he's no good enough or he's up. Whatever way you want to put it, you play the players that are in the position for the position that you go to them in. And I think once we fix that, we're good. I definitely think we need a left-sided central defender to play with the big fella. And I don't know if Fernandes has got it. He's quite young. To me, he looked a bit slow. And I don't, for the real limited that I've seen him, maybe it was just the way he was in the game. He was still getting up to speed, because I think it was only one of the practice games I've seen him in. But if we get that right, then as things start to click and your midfield start to get the spaces to get the ball, then you're not depending on these defenders who didn't really want to be passing the ball about too much at the back. You start to be looking at the passing the ball through them, and your midfielders start to fling your forwards. So that's my hope, and I think if we get that, then that starts to bring us into a wee bit of kind of a where we want to be, because we'll need something like definitely need that when we're playing against a stacked defence. 2 rows of 4 with one guy up front when we play against the Scottish teams. We need that space getting made. Now, it's obvious that with their back, then our defenders are going to get a hell of a lot of the ball. I think I'd rather him a midfielder on the ball, and I think if once they fun out, get that fluidity, I think that helps us.
I'm a simple man, as you well know, Cairo. I would rather have the ball 30 yards for their goal where we've got a chance of scoring and not have a chance of conceding than 30 yards for your goal when we can't score but we can concede. I don't understand it, mate.
I don't. I think that simple principle stands anyway. I think the problem with it is what he wants them to do now. I think he wants them to play through the middle of the park and get players running and run another team ragged. I think that's where it goes. You need the players to be able to do that, but they need to be moving. They need to be fluid. They need to be gaining angles. They need to be gaining position and getting into spaces to get the ball. So your defenders aren't holding it back 30 yards away from the opponent's goal. You're putting the ball through, and it is getting to the 18-yard box, and people are making runs. So I think if you're going to go with philosophy, you've got to take it all the way through and no start going, oh God, we better just hump the ball back up the park again. But I think as a principle, you're right. It's how you get there. It's the key. And for me, if we can get the midfield part, if we can get the midfielders starting to play a wee bit more fluid, starting to look about and start moving the ball. I mean, Raskin running with the ball looks really good. He can go past the player. Rothwell, if people see he's like a quarterback, I've not seen that in him yet. I think he's a cool customer, and I think he's good on the ball, and I think he's got an eye for a pass, but we need him to do it more often. Diamande, to me, he's beginning to become an enigma, because he's at times he doesn't play well, and whenever we're under pressure, he seems to disappear. When we're playing well and he's on the ball, then he kind of comes into his own a wee bit. But when you need him to dig in, I don't think he's there. And for me, that's a big miss. So the pros and cons to the way they're going to play, and it's like every other game. I agree the principle you're talking about. If you're playing football up and round about the 18-yard box, their 18-yard box, you have a better chance of getting into their box than you have if you're playing the ball about at the back and just pass nameless passes across the back, and it just becomes monotonous. And then we lose the ball, and we put ourselves under pressure, because last night every chance they got and every time they were putting us under pressure, we gave them the ball. It was absolutely lunacy.
I agree. But, Cairo, what I will say is we can pick holes in all the performance, all the passing, all the incidents in the tie. We went through 3-1, mate. You'd have took that before the ball was kicked in.
I wouldn't have, I'd have taken 2-1 out. I'd have taken the back to the wall as long as we get through. I'd have taken the 2-1. But I think what I said earlier on, Ox, about when we did lose the ball and the players were then playing what they were putting into do. I mean, the big defender, Big TD, whatever his name is, he he exemplified that because he defended really well. When we lost the ball, put ourselves under pressure, but we defended well. We go at the ball back, we go at the ball out. We were blocking shots, we were getting in front of them. There were a couple of times they said a decent, if they had a player like the gas man, they would have scored a couple of goals, but they didn't. And as I say, how many times have we gone away for games and we never scored when we thought we should have? But defensively, we did all right. And as I say, at corners and the free kicks that came in, I wasn't half as nervous as I was last year. Last year, man, every corner when you were expected to lose a goal. Last night, I was a wee bit more comfortable because I thought they were handling it a bit better. They were marking their men, they were getting there. So, to that aspect, whilst we weren't great getting offensive and keeping the ball and putting ourselves under pressure, when we got ourselves under pressure, we kind of we rode our luck, but we rode the pressure as well. So that was a good thing. That was one of the positives I took at it, that when we had to defend, we defended. And we had a couple of mistakes that we make regularly when we could have lost goals, where we just did the day what we should have done. Old frailties, shall we say.
I don't think we can avoid that. We're trying to be honest about it again. But there is positives. So moving on, Cairo, you've not been on. I want your view on the big picture, what's happened at the club, what's Cairo's thoughts, the new manager, and all the potential in and outs. Loads of questions there, Cairo.
Yeah, the takeover. Let's go with the big bit first. The takeover. I'm always sceptical of these big corporations coming in, but at the end of the day, we needed something. We definitely needed a seed change. We needed to change fundamentally at the top, our philosophy and where we were going to go. I think the spending power we potentially have, what they've shown down at Leeds in respect to how they do that, I think the fact they're not going to invest to lose money is a big thing. So I'm quite comfortable with that, provided they keep the business side of it intact and get us on keel where I don't think we've been for a while, and they bring in that professionalism that I think an organisation that size actually has at its behest. So to that standpoint, I'm pretty good. On the manager, I was agnostic. I didn't know who would be better between him and the Spanish fella. Both of them are a gamble. Whoever else we got was a gamble unless it was a proven manager. And I don't know how many proven managers there are about there that would say would be acceptable. For example, who would you get? So when he came and I heard that he got the job, like everything else, you say, okay, let's see what he's like. What I've seen him and what I hear from him, totally different from Clement. He's saying that I don't care how good they are, I want more for them. And he pulls players up. He's mentioned players and he said that some players aren't good enough. So he's quite brutally honest if you want. So I'll give him a chance. Some of the players he's brought in, we'll need to see how they do. Aaron's on the left. He looks slow getting back, but I don't know if that's just because of bewilderment or whatever it is. He looked a wee bit slow, but that boy was playing in that right-hand side. He was outrunning everybody. That boy was fast. He made our defence look slow. But because Aaron's was up against him all the time, it drew him away. But Aaron's can tackle, and I've seen him. He made a couple of tackles where you're saying, well, that's good. At least he can tackle and he can defend. That's what I like with my defenders. Because sometimes with a defender, times we'll go defenders and they can't defend. So if we're looking at a couple of individuals, it looks as though he's bringing in the players that is the cog that fits in that gap rather than just bringing in players. It looks as though he wants to play wingers. I've always liked wingers. I think they're exciting, and if they're fast, I know they're enigmatic, but if they're playing well, your team tends to play well. A couple of players that baffle me. I don't know why he played Dowell. I don't see what Dowell gives us. I honestly don't. I understand that he said that he works hard and he was there to do a defending role as well. Fair enough if that's. I never seen much of it, but it baffles me. So that kind of worries me. But he's obviously got a set plan in place and he's telling the players what to do. So I think we've got a Rangers way, as Albert was saying earlier on. You know, I think we're. I can see what he wants to do, and that's something that I've not said for a wee while about the Rangers, because going on switch the teams and he moves things about, and this guy seems to have a plan, and even if the player it's a square peg in a round hole to do a job like Aaron's, at least Aaron's knows what he's got to do, and I know what Aaron's has got to do. I think what was wrong last night was our midfielders were too tight. They were too conscious of what was being asked of them, literally, if you like, rather than consciously being in the position they're going to be, and then they can their flair and their own natural instincts would take them to the places they need to be as football players on the park, because they were literally going to where they were. So that wee square box, I was saying, that's where I have to be. I have to be in this position. That expands once they get used to how they're going to do it. So I can see. I think I can see what he's trying to do. I think I can understand where he's trying to get. Their players will need to be hell of a fit to be able to do that. But the thing about it is, the other teams that are playing against us will need to be fit to play against us. So I can see that coming through. Have we got the players to do it? It's a big problem. And you need players of depth, and you need players that know what they're going to be doing. You literally need two teams worth of players that know what they're doing and can slot in when one goes out. So that's going to be the challenge. And if we get that right, then I think it'll be really interesting. We'll have, as he says, his style of football, you'll have bumps in the road. I think as supporters, we've had mountains to climb, never mind bumps in the road. So a couple of bumps in the road won't make much difference to me, provided number one priority comes out with scoring their goals in them. And if he does that every week, then I think we can forgive either a couple of players no managing to do what they're supposed to do, or a couple of slip-ups here and there. But that's about it, I think. I think other than that, I'm a Rangers supporter, and I want Rangers to win every game, and I want the players out there giving their 100% all the time, whatever they're asked to do, and making sure that they come off. When they come off that part, they've done a shift.
Then GB.
All I'm looking for, Cairo, is an improvement week on week. I think in the current situation where we are, and we're trying to rebuild this club from the ground up again. We're trying to basically rebuild. Since 2012, we've been a basket case, and now we've got guys in charge who have got financial muscle. I don't think we're going to see, millions getting splashed here and there. I think will be ran like a business, because that's what they seem to be doing at Leeds. They're not going to be there and splashing the cash. But as long as I see us growing together, and the club continues to show energy, momentum, and everybody's feeling good, and like the fans, we're all feeling good at what we're seeing and what we're looking at. That's, to me, and for me as a fan, that's a powerful. That shows power at your club, not only for the stands but on the pitch. And in my opinion, guys, this is just the start. This is a fresh start, fresh ideas, but new manager. And as long as I can keep seeing that energy, momentum, and everybody's pushing towards the same goal, and that's to make Rangers Football Club, first of all, in my opinion, a domestic dominant force again. I just want to keep that going, and get guys touched on earlier on, and keep that momentum, building and driven. And Russell Martin's message is pretty clear. He seems to get the idea of, what it is to be a Rangers player. I loved the thing with Alex Ferguson that he done, and John Gregg. I thought that was a great touch. Real men, real football men. I really enjoyed that. All these wee things for me, Cairo, Oxford, GB, all these wee things to me matter, because that just showed you what Russell Martin, he's buying into this project. He wants to succeed. He's got, you're not managing a bigger club than this. Maybe not in this early part of his career. But hopefully, all going well, he will go and manage a bigger club in Rangers, because then at the end of that week, he's done his job for us, and we can move on eventually. You know what I mean? But if we're feeling good about our club, and my club's playing well, and the 49ers, the manager, Thelwell, us in the stands are all pushing together, I think we're a force to be reckoned with, guys. I really do.
TB.
I well said, Port. I think the manager himself is actually, he deserves the transfer kitty what he's guaranteed the club. I mean, like I says, it's European football to January now, and I think now it's over to Felwell to step up and help our manager, because manager's technically done his bit of it. He's built he's helped build the team. He's put a team out there that's went and qualified, and like I says, he knows now with the league coming up that you just have to get through it. You just have to get wins under your belt, and the football will come, because he's mentioned that a few times in the press conferences. He said it's not going to be exactly how he wants it initially, but he knows that he needs to find a way to win. So I do expect some ugly football. Like I said, maybe scraping 1-0s or whatever at times, but I'll be settled with that as long as I see improvement in the team week in, week out. And like I says, we're not constantly shooting ourselves in the football, in the foot. But I think it's over to the boys behind the scenes now. I think they really step up for the manager, because I says the manager can only do so much. And like as he's saying, he's trying to fit players in to do a job now. And I think it's over to our director of football to start speeding some stuff up now, if possible. Especially like I says, getting support into the team. And I think we all know now as well that we're crying out for at least a left-sided defender, maybe a guy that can play on the full-back role and the central defence role as well. Maybe somebody that can do both positions there. That would maybe help us now as well. Because I certainly don't think we'll be the finished article come close the transfer window. I think we'll need January and probably the following season as well to help keep building this team. But we need to give the manager the best chances that we can, especially these first few games in the season coming up.
There's a big game on Saturday, Cairo, and obviously we're in it to win it. You win it, we're 2 points better after than we were in the first game last season. These are all the stats that are positive and drive on, mate, and take the positive ways. I think we will improve. I think last night what it done was the domino to get people out the door helps. And also then I think there'll be a lot, there'll be a revolving door, Cairo, if that makes sense. As people go out, people will be coming in.
I agree. I think we definitely need to lose some of them. There's half a dozen players who I know are going to be gone. It's just a matter of how we shift them. I think Matondo is going to be the hardest one to shift, but nonetheless, he's a Welsh international, so we'll move on at some time. But I think that improvement is we're saying. I think we're all looking for that, because I think put it this way, as you said, if that result last night, if we were offered that 2 weeks ago, we'd attain it. For 6 weeks, we've had players coming in brand new. We've got a brand new manager. We've got a brand new setup. 6 weeks ago, last week everybody's saying this is too early. It's too early, and it is too early. We're nowhere near, and that team were no mugs, other than the fact that they couldn't shoot. There's a couple of serial deathers in their forward line. They had chances and they never took them. But again, we've had chances in games we've never took them. Or said, how did we lose that game? We should have won that game. So that's what it's all about. So we're putting the ball in the pocket, and we did it, and they didn't, and we won 3-1 with a team that is just starting to get together. It's a team that's not played together so for very long. So that's a huge positive. As I said at the very start, if you take it top level, we went into that game, the two games, we are a makeshift sort of a team. We weren't playing together, and we won it. We ticked the box. That shows a wee bit. That shows we've got something. And that team were no mugs. So, as I say, I think we're in the trough. We're on the way up. If we can get some levels of performance going forward, and especially in the domestic stuff with the buses being parked, if we can find a way to make that happen, and I think we got him as one of the guys that could unlock that, then we start to get the confidence, and then we start to get players moving. And I think that's the thing that I understand. I think I understand where Martin's trying to get us there. I just hope that method works.
Right, well, I hope it does, mate. I hope it does. If you were the manager, Cairo, if you were a manager and you've got three positions to fill. What's your priority?
A left-sided centre back. I would have. I think we desperately need somebody up front that'll toe poke 20 goals in. He's always going to be there. He's always going to be in the midst of it. And I've told you before, I used to argue with my mate Tam every game about McCoist, and we used to the chances he missed, and I'd say crazy. And Tam's argument always was, "Hey Andy, it was there. It was there. It was always there." And that's right. And that, when you think about it, it was there. When the balls come flying across, it hit somebody that came in, or he was there. Somebody hit the ball and he was there. Or it hit the post and came out, he was there. So I want a natural predator there, somebody there that's just going to be there. He doesn't have to be the best goal, the best player in the world, but if he can score goals. And I'm afraid Dessers doesn't have that. Dessers just doesn't have it. He's an enigma. He scores some good goals. The age he is and the way the teams he's played with and that, yeah, he's a football player, so he's entitled to score goals, the ones he missed. But he's not always there. He's not always on it. He's not always out there. And I would want somebody up there. So centre back, centre forward. Left back position. What do we think of Jeffy? I think there's a player there in Jeffy. Is he ready?
He's got the attributes, Cairo.
He has. So I agree, and that's I'm swithering. Do we need a left back, or is Jeffy the guy, or do we need somebody to go in there, an established player in there who's going to help Jeffy come along? Jeffy,
you're gone quiet again, mate.
Is Jeffy 22 or 23, something like that?
Something like that. Ages
so, he's just a couple of years older than me. I need somebody to help me along in life. And all, it's like everything else. Do you take the chance of them? I think they're a player there. I mean, I don't, and because of that, I don't think that's the main priority. I think we need somebody on the right. I don't know if this young fellow will go to get injured and we'll get Cortez there. I don't know if they can play on the right. But I've only got two positions that are absolutely urgent, and that's centre forward and a left-sided centre back, and possibly a left back. If Jeffy can cut it, and if he takes that wee step up, I think we've got a left back there. So that's just my view.
Jeffy's got the attributes. He's big, he's powerful, he's got some leading him. I think his concentration's his thing, mate. It's a lack of concentration, yeah.
And as I say, he's still quite young. He's got the speed when he makes a mistake. He's got the speed to get back. And I notice, as I say, the big fella at the back as well, the big Judy. He's the same.
Oh, you're breaking in and out. You must be moving.
That better?
That's better. Right, I'll bring GB in the answer. GB.
Okay, cheers.
On Jeffy, I mean, last night, some of the boys he was putting in the box, so we just needed a striker to be there to finish them. I mean, he was putting in some nice balls last night. Again, back to what we've seen the very first time when he was playing in Europe last season. So I've got no real concerns about Jeffy. I think he will do a job. He's good enough to be a squad player now, and hopefully with development he can nail down that position. But I think that's a priority now. That's still out big time for me. I don't think Arns will get away with some of these mistakes on that left side in the league or against better opposition. So I think we need to look at that side of it. We need, like I said earlier, that a defender that can do both positions on the left. Definitely up front, we need to. I agree with Cairo that we need to get somebody else in up front. If Igaman's not going to feature, if Igaman's got to stay, then I think we're all right up there. And then this right hand side, our Achilles heel, we hopefully can sign somebody permanent that we can say that's going to be there week in, week out for us, and then maybe another loan signing on that side to help us throughout the season. That's my kind of priority. I know you asked for 3, but I'm wanting 4.
But you're always greedy, aren't you?
Sorry, mate. That adds up to 6. That's 3 each. That's all right.
If I'm being honest, mate, before the season started, what he caught with us, I thought we needed a goalkeeper. And I'm still no, yeah.
Aye, yeah. The way the season ended when Kelly took the gloves, mate. It was looking like Butland was days are numbered. It looked like he'd be one of the first ones to out the door. But it was all about, again, mate, I'm going to use that word character. It was how do you react after the finish the season already had. We want a goalkeeper that's going to win us 15 points a season. We don't want a keeper that's going to lose us 15 points a season. And that was his form last year. So it was looking like the promising goalkeeper that we all thought we had was gone. And Oxford, he's had obviously had a good chat with Russell Martin during pre-season, and we know there's a good goalkeeper in there, and that could, like I said, that could potentially save us 10 million quid Oxford if he goes and be the keeper that Gareth Southgate came up and looked and almost called him back into the England setup. I really do think that affected him. I'm going to put that out there. I think the fact that he got left out of that squad at that, I think that hurt that big boy, and I just hope that that's not going to be one of the positions we're going to need to look at immediately. So I'm through the spine of the team. I'd like to see left-sided centre-back. I don't think, I'm with you guys, I'm on Yefty. I think the boy should be given a chance. And I mean, a run of games. Remember we used to say about Ridvan, when Ridvan could stay fit and he got a run of games, you seen the quality Ridvan could offer you. And I think I'd like to see Yefty getting a run of games like that, where we're going to get to see the young man improve and his defensive side, his game improve, because going forward in his pace, he's got, as you said, Oxford, all the attributes. I wouldn't mind him going and getting that big boy who Tel Aviv, the big Turgeman, the centre forward will link by, and then that position, it's always been a bugbear for me, that right hand side. And the boy for Crystal Palace, Sakai, I've seen a few highlights of him. I hope they go and nail that now that we've got European qualification, because I think the way they were talking about it, that signing was all down to, if we got guaranteed European football, that signing could be a big, massive possibility. And also remember, they're looking at the boy Moore from Tottenham on loan. So Russell Martin's creating a very attack-minded side, mate.
Close, mate. Sorry? Moore really close. What?
I think that's the next one. I reckon's going to be announced, mate. If you're reading or hearing the same things as I'm hearing, and this boy's very, very highly thought of in England, very highly thought of. So this is where I think we're getting again the experience and the knowledge of Kevin Thirlwell. He's got a knowledge of young players down there who are in the under 21 setup in England. That was the boy Sakai as well for Crystal Palace. That's where they've got his name from. And again, he's an exciting young right-sided winger, Oxford. But you know, there's a lot of movement either way, going out and coming in. And you know, I'm going to throw one at you. You've got the boy, the gas man, and you've got the young fella, Finlay Curtis, playing on the left. Currently keeping the £4 million man Cortez out the team, and they can't get a game on the right because Dill's playing there. Is any of you guys actually see a future for Cortez?
It's not rosy, I'll tell you. Yeah, that's about the third manager that's had a look at him, and he's been fit, because he was fit at times with Clement and Fergie near the back end of the season onwards, and nobody's putting him on the pitch, mate. It's a real
strange,
I think he worked hard, but he wasn't great on Saturday, if I'm honest, mate. He's got to up his game. Yeah, I feel for him. He's a young boy, other side of the world, different culture, but he's a highly played professional football player, and we expect him to deliver. No room for sentiment, no Cairo, is there?
No, absolutely no. He's produced the goods of go, and I think I'm hoping. Well, for what I hear anyway, and for what you see from Martin, I think that's the cut of him. I think that's what he said. Without fear or favour, he's telling you if you're not up to scratch, you're not up to scratch. You need to get yourself up to scratch, or you'll not be here. So that's a good thing. And just while we're on there, Butland. I mean, I never even thought of a new goalkeeper the last couple of days because of Butland's performance. But the thing that really got me with Butland is during the summer he went away a training camp in Spain. So the big man, he's obviously knew his performance wasn't up to speed. He's obviously had a downer on it. He's obviously had didn't take it. He didn't need a crystal ball to tell you his performances weren't what we're expecting at Rangers. And he tried some. He went away and he went to a training camp to get recalibrated, probably get back into the basics and everything else. And that says something. If you've got a guy who's an ex-England goalkeeper going away back to a training camp where you're going to train and learn techniques with a goalkeeper, you know, get yourself reset, if you like, I think that says a lot about him. And I don't know if it's that or it's the pre-season or what it is, but something's shook him in, and he's been. The 2 games he played, he looked like the goalkeeper we thought he was. So I've got to give him that wee bit of respect that he just didn't sit in his laurels. He went away and he's recalibrated himself. So that's what I think. I think that says a lot about him. So if that works and it shows the character of the man, then I hope he has a great season.
Right, I hope he doesn't get another man in the match award. There you go.
You hope it up.
Aye, that's a fact.
I hope he doesn't get another man in the match award.
Where does Ox?
No, but if you're talking about, you know, key positions, the 3 positions that we mentioned, there was only one person mentioned, the goalkeeper, and I think that's because the last 2 games he's kind of shut us up a wee bit. He became the goalkeeper we expected in the first place.
Where are you looking to strength? Sorry.
Left. My first signing would be a left-sided centre half. I don't know if Cody plays there, does he? Left or right? Yeah, because I don't. Shooter. If we're going to play that football, I don't think it suits him on right or left. But he's least effective on the left, mate. We've seen it when he played with Golson and he was always on the left. When he moved to the right, he's a 10% better player. Yeah, shooter. Yeah, but I don't know if the system's going to suit him because having that lot of the ball, John's got that. He's got that mad moment in him. So I think we need a left centre half, obviously to drive Fernandes on, who's our player. So if Connor Cody's a man and he's been linked for a long time, that would be my first signing. He seems to like he want wingers because I think he wants to. They're going to work really hard and they're going to get brought off after 60 minutes, and we're going to refresh them with pace. So I think he's looking to have 4 there. So I get that. Left back potential. I get Albert. Sorry, I was looking at a picture there. GB. GB. I think.
I'll be in black and white.
What happens with Ridvan? Whether we've got we need one in there, but I don't know because if we've got Aaron's that can play there, and if Yefty does get his seat in, because I think it's the maturing and concentration that's been Yefty's problem because he switches off defensively a lot and he's causing. We've seen it, we've watched it, you know, and he has get like pussies, but that's the 2, and then whatever happens with the centre forwards, who leaves and who stays and where we end up, because I don't think we're bringing in any more as we sit the snow with 3. But if people leave, I think that changes the setup there. So that's the 3 for me. But I've got a question for you, Paul.
Oh.
Right.
Go on.
The home strip and the white strip, your thoughts? I know you like your strips.
Favourite term. Yeah, I do agree with that. My favourite's the away one, mate. I like that. The white with the red and the blue on the chest. I do like that. Not the biggest fan of Umbro, mate. I'm not the biggest fan of Umbro kits. I've never have been. But if I was going to buy one, which I will do, it'll be the white one.
Mm-hmm. Do you still think white's your colour?
Aye, of course it is. Shows the tan off better.
All right, just want to get
I'm a traditionalist. I think it should be. Him should be blue shirts, white shorts, red and black socks every time, and have a wee variation of the colour. Always blue at Ibrox. That's what we are. We're blue.
Oh, I don't disagree with that, mate. It's not Umbro, it's Custoa with an Umbro badge. Mr. Fox is shouting at you.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that, but still says Umbro for me. And the white collar, I don't. It's the collars. See collars on strips. I hate a collar on a strip as well.
All right, I quite like you too, mate. If I'm honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like collars either.
That's just me. Your thoughts, GB? Your thoughts?
The way tap gives the vibes back in the time with Big Papatch running about with the same tap on, I think, isn't it? And so that's all right. And the Haim one, bit retro with the collar, as you're talking about, but it's at least there's a bit of difference. I think some of the Haim taps in recent years have been only slight differences. At least this one is, like I say, got a wee bit more of a different feel about it, that you could say that will link to this year for forevermore, especially a title winning year, you know what I mean? So and then we've got the third kit, that black one, it's all right. And then we're still waiting on the red one coming out, aren't we?
Maybe time for Christmas, but we'll go to the 3. I think that's enough, mate. I always think that's enough. But then it's modern football, isn't it? Modern football. Cairo, Europe, how important is it to you?
It's 99 out of 100. The league's 100 out of 100. I think every game Rangers play, we should be playing it. I think every game we play in, we should have a pool big enough to do them all. We should have players that can accommodate slight changes, and as I say, every cog fits in its place. The players should know what they're doing when the position they're in, and we should be going to play every game to win. We might not play what we think is the strongest team every game, but the principle should be we go to win every game. And if we have problems with injuries, then I'm afraid the league comes first for me.
What?
You know, you've always known my thoughts on European football, mate. I understand the importance of it, but for a long, long number of years, we were a club built on domestic dominance, and that's what I want. I want that back, mate. I want that. I want us to be winning and having that gap between us and them again. But like I said, Europe's gravy to me, and I just want my team winning every trophy there is in Scotland. First of all, let's build on that. Let's get this team, let's get this manager, let's get this club winning things again at home, and then the rest will take care of itself, mate. Because when you start winning your home trophies, especially the league, you don't have to qualify for Europe. You're straight in, you're guaranteed your dough, and then the Champions League money all falls into place, mate. And then all the dominoes just take effect from that. So, first of all, it's domestic dominance with a Port Bear, mate.
Is he always so domineering, GB?
Sometimes in that van, Ox, I just need to watch myself, you know what I mean? So he's always trying to take the lead. So, but it can be.
You be careful what you're saying.
I know, but that's a thought.
No, but he's very forceful with his opinions. That's for sure. That our Port Bear, especially in the fit by taps. But I think Europe is. If they had to say it as a new Ox, I think job done in Europe. But we've got 2 other games to try and push on to get in the Champions League, and if we can do that, then that could accelerate things. You mean in the sense of, if we get that Champions League money outright, then we could see even more better signings go, or it could allow us to get players out the door with just saying tatty bye. There's your contract, see you later. I mean, because I do fear that we'll need to try and do that with some of them. But for me, it's the league this season, Ox. As Martin says, we just have to win. Just keep winning, keep starting to build some pressure across the City Hawks, because, like I says, they'll not like it if we put up a challenge. Like I says, I do have a feeling that, like I says, they could crumble with any negativity that comes their way, especially, like I says, with what's going on in their transfer window. So I really do hope, like I says, that we'd have an alright season in Europe, but it's not the be all and end all for me. I think last night was kind of the one where we've ticked the box, we've made it to Europe, and whatever else happens after that, it's just bonus money. It's the league, like I says, that matters, and we need to start putting a bit of a hold back into that again.
I get it. Yeah, it was a big game for the club last night. Yeah, Cairo, because of that. But that's us guaranteed after Christmas,
Absolutely.
European. You know, that's what becomes big for the club. Yeah.
Absolutely, and the stages and everything else. You know, it's you know, if we go to play and win every game, it doesn't matter if it's League or it's Europe. The only times when it becomes a problem is if you're get injuries, or if you're you've got players that are out, and your squad's not up for it. If you're a good enough squad, it doesn't matter if you're playing in Europe or if you're playing in the league. You're going to play football and you're playing the same way. You're playing to win. Then it doesn't make any difference. You need to win every game. As I say, it's that 10% when you say, do we play so and so tonight, or do we lay them off? We should have players that are good enough to come in and play. So for me, that's what I said. It's 99%, 100% for the league. The league would always be the priority, but Europe's brilliant. Plus, it gets you the finances. Plus, it gets you the kudos. It's the nights that everybody loves. So you can't discount Europe either. And it's this qualifying. If we win the league with many of this qualifying stuff, and you get your team prepared so you're getting into the games, and that mob across the city have benefited from all their hard work and done nothing themselves, and we didn't seem to be having to capitalise ourselves in the league, so we've lost it in millions and millions in all the nights because we never won the league. So that's where my reasoning is on it. But the money, the kudos, and everything else for Europe, once you're there, after last night, once you've ticked that box and you says that's the job done, that was the big job that had to be done. If there's one big overarching thing today, qualify for Europe, we've done it. So that goes by the wayside now. Now we start to get our team in order and we go to win every game. Over.
Well said, Carol. Well said, mate.
Switching back to domestic football, opening league game of the season, as I said earlier, we get that out of the way. The pre-season becomes a thing of the past. It's been a success if we win on Saturday. What?
So we think it matters, mate. Pre-season's done now. As far as we're concerned, that part of the job's complete. Saturday, the weekend, when we crossed that white line, all the preparation has been done. I think you'll see it if they try and camp in on us. I think what you'll see is, mate, a lot of players in their half. They can sit in as long as they want, but the idea that I think Russell Martin's got in his head, mate, with having absolute blistering pace down either wing and moving the ball a lot quicker, which you need to do side to side. He's got players that will hurt teams that want to sit in on us. Because if you notice at times how high their set of halves have been at times up on the halfway line next year, because they can rely on Giga's pace, and you've got Aaron's, you've got Yefte pace as well. We can actually squeeze these teams and choke them to death in their own half. If we want to sit deep, we'll keep them deep. Let's not let them out next year. Let's be a completely different team this year, where we just try to play through teams, and they just a bank of 5, a bank of 4, and then the striker in behind the ball. We're going to pace, width, power next year, and guys like Rothwell who've got a pass, that can split defences, something we didn't have. It's going to be a completely different animal this year, in my opinion. It's all my opinion, mate, but that these teams that continue to come and play negative football at Ibrox or even at their home park are going to find us a different animal this year, especially in an attacking sense. Like I said earlier on, we might have some mental moments where we'll lose crazy goals because Russell wants to play from the back and we wants his team to build through from the back. But I certainly think going forward, if you sit in on Rangers with the pace we've got and the finishing power they've got in wider areas, mate, do it at your peril because you'll get destroyed.
Well, gentlemen, it's been great. Great having Port Bear, great having GB on, and fantastic having my mucker Cairo on. Great to hear from you, Cairo. Last thoughts.
Last thoughts. Well, I hope our wingers hit the byline and get the ball across, and we give Dessers or Danilo, whoever's playing, enough chances so that even if they miss 10, they score 10. So I'm optimistic about the future. I'm a wee bit more optimistic than I was last season. And if we get that midfield getting a wee bit more fluid and we start to see Raskin moving the ball and we start to see Rothwell really coming out, then hopefully Diamande gets dragged along with him. But for me, we build the team around Raskin and Rothwell and let's see how they can get the defence, I think, are looking better already. We can defend corners now. We can defend set pieces. Butland, if he's rehabilitated and he's good in his own head and he gets back to where he is, the future is bright. The future is orange.
I think you meant rejuvenated.
Well, rehabilitated, maybe rejuvenated, aye. But the future's bright. The future's orange. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be really interesting to see if we get this style of play working, and if we get it working, I think we'll sweep the boards in the league, and then it'll be, well, how well can we do in Europe this year? So that's for me, that's what it's going to be. I'm really quite excited to go forward to see how it goes, because I think just now we're in the trough. Performance-wise, we're in the trough, and we can only start getting up and getting up and getting up better. So the only way is up, I think. So I'm really optimistic. I'm quite upbeat about it. So let's see what Saturday brings us.
Yeah, great to hear from you, mate.
And it's the first time we've been on for a while. It's good to hear your voices again. I listen to the afternoon shows. I go out walk and I listen sometimes. So I just thought tonight, because of my optimism, I thought I'd give you a wee phone call just to try and share it.
If you can spread it.
All the best, guys.
Cheers, mate. Port Bear.
Hi, mate. Buzzing, absolutely buzzing for the season ahead. Buzzing to be back on Rangers Radio, mate. Good to be on my mucker GB and yourself, Stuart. Great, obviously great to hear Cairo, and he's all another calling legend and a big part of the show. But onwards and upwards, mate, and I'm looking for a good positive result on Saturday to continue this journey.
Here. Great to speak to you, mate. GB.
Aye, boys, great show. Like I say, it's a pleasure to be on with you tonight, and pleasure to hear Cairo back on. It's always good hearing, like I say, the callers' opinions and stuff like that, knowing that we're not talking crazy at half the time. So onward to the start of the season. I'll give you my score prediction, 2-0 to the Glasgow Rangers, and I'm feeling it already.
I'm feeling it. Listen, great to hear from Cairo. Thanks to you two, Port Bear and GB, for doing the show. Of course, Fox and Old School Blue. But then the technicals in the background, they're the guys that make the whole show tick. So big thank you to them. We don't say it often enough how much, because without them, there's no show. Thanks to everybody for listening. Rangers Radio will be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10, talking about all things Rangers. And believe it or not, it's time for the first Southside's Super 6. Take it away, Old School Blue.